practice session. This is gonna be practice session number 3. And my topic is on the U.S.-Iran conflict, which happened last year. If you remember, with well, there's been tension for the longest, but with last year with the U.S. killing their leader Soleimani, and everybody thought there was gonna be a war happening, including myself for a little bit. But obviously, with COVID going on in the world, we all forgot about it. But it brought a lot of it had a lot of effects. But there have also been a lot of causes to all this going on, and I found this topic interesting, and I wanted to talk about this. From the CIA overthrowing Iran's democracy to the Iran hostage crisis to Reagan even declaring Iran a promoter of terrorism to the Iran Contra affair, and obviously the U.S. killing Soleimani. Now, what I want to get into is the CIA admitting to overthrow Iran's democracy. They admitted this in 2013, but obviously this happened in 1951. And how did this happen? Well, pretty much to what those documents say, declassified documents, obviously, was that in 1951, and the CIA admitted this, in 1951, Iran was going to become a democracy. And obviously, for the Iranians, this was a good thing. They wanted change. They wanted new foundations, I guess, new beliefs, as they have been ran by dictatorships. And we pretty much didn't want this. Now, in Iran in 1951, that year, there was a very popular democratic leader running, which his name is Mossadegh, Mohammad Mossadegh, who was running, who was very popular. He was going to win for sure. This was good obviously for the Iranians, but not for us. Now, why not for us? It wasn't good for our economy. Now, because Mossadegh promised to nationalize the oil and gas industry, the Iranian oil and gas industry. Now, obviously, the Middle East is very key. It's a key, or I guess you could say a land. What could we call it? It's like a gold mine for oil and gas, to put into words. It's a gold mine, and obviously everybody wants a piece of that. And by Iran doing this, it would make it harder for us to get oil and gas, at least right there. Harder for deals and make it more expensive, obviously. And this wasn't a good thing. Now, how did the U.S. do this? Well, they did this by bribing and using propaganda to help promote the other party, which was Mohammed Pahlavi, who served 25 years. So pretty much, if you put one and one together, we helped put a dictator in power. So that's where the first tension started. Obviously, we didn't know about it, not the people, but they knew about it. Now, another very, very famous case was the Iran hostage crisis, which obviously we learned about in school. Well, I did at least. I learned about this. Didn't pay much attention to it, I'm going to be honest. But after doing a little bit of research, I found it very interesting. So, pretty much, to give it a fast run through, Iran had a leader who fled to the U.S. to receive cancer treatment. The U.S. helped them. Obviously, the Iranians were pissed off. They wanted him extradited back to Iran so he could serve in trial in court against crimes against humanity. Now, so pretty much a bunch of Iranian students pissed off, a bunch of pissed off Iranian students stormed the U.S. embassy, took U.S. hostages, and held them there for 444 days. About a year and 2 months, which is in like crazy amount of time to be held hostage for. Obviously, the event, pretty much the U.S. never really extradited him, and he ended up dying a couple years later, I believe, in an African country. And that was that. What did end up happening though after that was the U.S. Cutting all diplomatic ties with Iran, so they no longer saw Iran as a ally or as they weren't gonna. They didn't even want to talk to Iran after that. Pretty much that did happen though. Now, how does this all? And obviously, last year, U.S. killing Soleimani, Trump threatening to push a button and go to war with Iran and all this stuff. Now, how does this affect the U.S. right now? Well, it affects us right now as I believe it affected our economy. It affected the oil and gas industry for sure. All the oil and gas plants, all the workers, especially right here in the area that we live in south of Texas with all the oil and gas industry, it affected us even more. But obviously, with the pandemic happening, I feel like we all kind of switched off and stopped thinking about some stuff. Well, not stopped thinking, but it's always there. But paid a little more attention to other stuff. And obviously, in the world, a bunch of stuff is going on. So that's what I believe. And it affected our economy, and I'm a believer that without an economy, the world is nothing, or the world can't function properly. Without an economy, a proper good economy, it can't function. So that's one thing, major thing. I think it affected for sure. And yeah, I found this topic pretty interesting. That's why I wanted to talk to it, and I learned a few stuff, and I hope y'all did too. Thank you.